he's one of 36 leading physicians and doctors who signed a letter, it's part of the congressional record now, calling for Donald Trump to immediate and lawful removal from office for medical reasons. So, Doctor, thanks so much for being on.
Well, that's a pretty breathtaking summary. Can I go now?
No, we got too much to cover, my friend. We have a lot to go through.
All right, Dean, roll it.
So tell us first, so I touched on your background a little bit. Tell people a little bit about your work and that the years that you worked and focused on the psychiatry and as a professor.
Sure. I've practiced psychiatry for over 50 years. I've been on the faculty of 5 medical schools. My mother might say that you can't keep a job, but on balance, I've been around. And I've specialized in substance abuse disorders. I was one of the contributors to the diagnostic manual of the American Psychiatric Association. What am I? This sounds very good. I'm a distinguished life fellow of the American Psychiatric Association. Although by the time I'm done here, they may take that away.
So you have an impressive background, and it's really remarkable. I want the people to know that you've put a lot of work in there, and you have developed a reputation in your field. So for you to put something out like this, you're risking it. So I imagine that it's really important for you, and you understand that in advance. So to me, it gives it more credibility about what you're talking about. It's easy to sit back and not do anything. So let's talk about the letter here. What led you and the other 36, a group of 36, so you and the other 35 physicians and doctors with expertise in mental health to actually sign this letter and write this letter?
Well, I think there are 2 reasons. One, we were witnessing with increasing alarm the changes within the president mentally and cognitively and emotionally that were alarming and were suggestive of possible but very specific and disturbing mental health issues. That was the first piece of the story. The second piece of the story is really how we manage the nuclear arsenal. And there's only one person in the United States that can launch a nuclear war. That's the president. He's followed around by an officer in the Air Force who has a little suitcase. Its nickname is the football. Inside that suitcase, change was alarm, is a series of codes which, at a moment's notice, can launch nuclear strikes anywhere in the world. So coupled with emotional instability and sole access and control over nuclear weapons, my colleagues and I, we didn't say this in the document that was recorded in the congressional record, but my opinion was, yikes. This is really yikes. This it may not be very professional, but it is right on target. We were really, and we continue to be very much disturbed by the current state of affairs with respect to the president and his control over nuclear weapons, and more recently, his threats implicitly and explicitly to use them against Iran.
Yes, very much so. I mean, the conclusion, I'll read the concluding line, then we'll go backwards a little here. It says, Donald J. Trump is mentally unfit to be president of the United States, and that steps to remove him from office must be undertaken with the greatest urgency. So what did you review to reach that conclusion? Well,
first of all, we did not make a diagnosis. None of us has sat down with the president and reviewed his medical history. We haven't had the freedom to order tests, although I know what I would like to order. No one's asked me. No, actually,
what kind of test? What kind of test would you like to order, doctor?
Well, we could start with a complete neuropsychiatric battery. That would take several hours or so, not 10 minutes that a mocha would take. That would be a good start. We could do a careful neurological examination. That hasn't been reported. We could do an MRI of the brain. That, as far as we know, has never been done. We could do drug testing to find out why he's awake all night tweeting and sleeping all day during cabinet meetings. You laugh, but there's obviously a sleep-wake reversal here, and that's a serious problem in any president, including Joseph Biden. So we want to call it as we see it, right across the plate. And the other issues are that this is a fellow whose symptoms appear to have accelerated in the last 6 months or so. He's become more grandiose. He dresses himself like the Pope. He has an image that he's posted online that shaking hands with God. I mean, if I were to describe this on late night TV, it would be a yak a second, right? But we're talking about the president of the United States. This is the real deal here. This is crazy stuff. And my colleagues recognized this, and we said, look, a grandiose, impulsive guy, given to rage attacks, awake all night without controls, with access to the nuclear codes. What's wrong with this picture?
It's not a good picture. So, doctor, let me ask you, if you keep apart the nuclear code part, if you just laid out those symptoms that you just ticked off for us, if it was just a normal person and that's what was presented to you, deterioration of cognitive functioning, impulsiveness, the idea of grandiose self-images, delusional beliefs, what would that be consistent with?
Well, it's a great question, and he exhibits so many different psychiatric red flags that the first thing you do, if he came into my emergency room at Mass General, and he walked in, he said, "Doc, I have all these symptoms. I'm grandiose. I'm up all night. I want to kill all my enemies. I can't stay awake during the day. My speech is tangential. Sometimes I get confused and walk around the Japanese palace and I don't know where I am. I mean, can you help me, Doc?" That's a great question. My answer would be, bring on the medical students, because this is a case that covers so much ground. It's a textbook, and it's a textbook of many different disorders. One of my colleagues said, "Do you think he has tertiary syphilis?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't know if the president has tertiary syphilis, but that would explain a lot of things."
What are the symptoms of tertiary syphilis?
Oh, I mean, he could have, signs of dementia, signs of poor emotional control, difficulty thinking things through, poor judgment, abnormalities in gait, motor abnormalities. So, but let's not let the record not show that he has tabes dorsalis. We don't know that. But I would know a lot better if I had a serological test for syphilis.